Welcome back to Gas City Gaming's Aether Revolt set review. In this video, we'll be taking a look at all the black cards in the set, kind of talking about how they fare in limited environments for the most part, and if I feel like to make a splash in constructed environments like Standard or Modern, we'll mention that as well. So our first card of the set is Aether Poisoner. It is a generic mana and black mana for a human artificer creature at common. It's a 1/1 and it has Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy, and when it attacks, you may pay 2 energy. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. I know in limited and so in your draft and your sealed formats, I really like these little cheap death touchy creatures. They tend just to hold back those big stompy 4/4s, 5/5s that your opponents get sometimes. They're big bombs because it's blink and it kills them. I played 2 of these in my deck because your opponent has to kill it somehow. They have to waste part of some of their removal or something on a trick to kill your little death touchy guy, not your big bomb. So it lures out your opponent's removal and potentially holds back a large board of creatures. I know it did in my deck. Holds back a large board of bigger creatures than your 1/1, but it still trades profitably with them. I did have it get in once in a while to get the token. If nothing else, you get 2 energy to fuel some of your other cards. You don't always have to make that token to have this creature be good. I am more than happy paying 2 mana for a 1/1 Death Touch in a limited environment. Plenty good for limited. Not going to see any Standard or Modern play or anything like that, but plenty good. I'm going to play 1 or 2 of these in most of my sealed formats if I can help it. So, Aether Poisoner. I'm going to screw that up more than once. Aether Poisoner. Just a really good card for your solid limited formats. Strangler is our next card. So it's 2 generic and a black for an Aetherborn Rogue at common as a 2/3 with Menace. It's okay. We've seen kind of our cycles of 2/3. Blue had the Flyer, white had the Vigilance, black gets Menace. Seems good. Seems like they've kind of gone away from Intimidate. Intimidate was a little bit too strong in some cases, so they're doing Menace instead. It's good. It's not bad. I like the 2/3 body. It's, doesn't die to shock. I don't want to say that for everything that has more than 2 toughness, but it's a factor, right? 3 toughness is good. And Menace, so if you play it late game and your opponent's limited on blockers, this is going to get through sometimes, and 10% of the life total, do that a couple times and it can start adding up. It's a solid creature. It's not a bomb. It's not horrible. It's solid. It's going to be right in the meaty curve of your creatures. It's going to be your 3-drop, 2/3. That you're going to be happy to play because you just need bodies to fill out your deck sometimes. Like we said in the other videos, there's your bombs, there's your crappy cards, then there's this guy. There's a whole bunch of cards in between, and this is in there. So, Strangler, just a solid card. Battle at the Bridge. I got this as one of my promos, actually, and it looks really nice foiled. Battle at the Bridge is an X and black for a rare sorcery that has Improvise. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, and you gain X life. This is going to be, I think, in a lot of Esper or blue-black control decks, both because cost reduction, we've seen how broken cost reduction can be in the past with Delve, with Cascade, with any of those other effects where you can do non-mana things that help you pay for your spell, like this Improvise. Improvise, if you're not familiar, says your artifacts can help cast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1 generic mana. So if you have a clue sitting out, you can tap, that adds a mana just using your clue. If you have servos, you can tap your servos, your Thopters, each of those adds 1 mana. So you can potentially, for this, tap 1 swamp and 5 creatures, or 5 artifacts, even doesn't have to be creatures, 5 artifacts to give something minus, in that case, -5/-5 until end of turn, and you gain 5 life. So this does 2 things. That's hopefully removes a creature from their side of the board, and gives you life. So it removes a creature, buys you time to do that if you're behind, and gains you life, so buys you time to do that. So I think this is gonna definitely, it's a removal spell in limited and sealed, just get it. In Standard, I definitely think it's going to see play because you're going to be able to control more how many artifacts you have, especially new Tezzeret, we'll go over in our multicolor review, makes you artifacts to help you pay for this, right? It's going to be really good. Battle at the Bridge, just a solid card. Removal, So you're going to play it in your limited decks. I think it's definitely going to see standard play as well in the kind of Esper or blue-black control decks. Really good card. Cruel Finality is a 2 generic and black common instant. It says target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Scry 1. I didn't actually get, for being common, I didn't get this in any of my pools actually. But it's solid. You can use it as a combat trick or just as a removal spell if you need to. And card selection. So you're going to play it. It's one of your black combat tricks. Not as good as like Rush of Vitality, where your creature gets indestructible to an artifact. But in most cases, it's going to make you win combat, and your opponent's creature is going to die, hopefully, if that's the way you're playing it. Hopefully it's not just a delay where they're attacking for Xaxes and you want to live for one more turn. And scry 1. So if it helps you, hopefully your best scenario is winning combat and then scrying an extra land to the bottom or something that's not an answer to the bottom. In worst case scenario, you scry, I need a land, oh, not a land, maybe the next card's going to be a land. It gets you closer to that, if nothing else, unless you like the card you got on top and then you can keep it. But Cruel Finality, I'm happy playing 1, maybe 2 of these, depending on what else I kind of pull, but solid card. It's going to be just kind of your black trick while we're removal in this set. I like it. Daring Demolition. This card, oh my goodness. Limited and sealed, play as many as you can get. Just do it. Just do it. It's not Doomblade, but it's better, in my opinion, in a sealed or limited environment because it can kill anything. It can kill a non-crude vehicle. It's sorcery, so it usually won't be crude, but I'm happy taking as many of these as I can get. In draft, in sealed, 2 generic mana, 2 black for a common sorcery. I'll tell you what it is. It says destroy target creature or vehicle. Let it. Kill it. 4 mana, kill it. We've paid 5 for this in the past and gained a little life, but I'm happy paying 4. I only got 1 in my particular pool. I was playing a black-white deck at one of the pre-release events. I saw one guy with 3. Like, I would play 3 if I got 3. The card just says 4 mana, kill something. I'll do that every time. In limited sealed, we don't live in the land of Doomblades anymore, unfortunately. Well, we'll see later, but usually our removal isn't that efficient. With Daring Demolition, it's one of the best, most efficient cards we have in this set. They have that Smuggler's Copter, destroy it. They have that Gear Hulk, destroy it. They have whatever it is, that creature, that vehicle that's killing you, destroy it. Simple as that. Good old kill spell. Daring Demolition, I don't think it's good enough to see standard play because we do have some really good standard removal in black, white, blue, Esper colors already. But it's a really good card, guys. I love it. Plays, in my opinion, play as many as you can get your hands on in your sealed formats. Defiant Salvager is 2 generic mana and a black for a common creature. It's an Aetherborn Artificer. It is a 2/2. Sacrifice an artifact or creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Defiant Salvager, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So you can't, like, trick, okay, I got 3 servos in this guy, I'm going to block this guy and sack the servos. You can't do that, you have to do it at sorcery speed, so only on your turn. But I had this guy and the 9th Bridge Patrol out, and 9th Bridge Patrol says whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a counter on it. So I sacked a bunch of servos to this guy, made him huge, made 9th Bridge Patrol huge, attacked with like my 6/6 and 7/7. I had a good time with it. Defiant Salvager, I like it, especially if you are going to have a lot of artifacts, if you're going to have a lot of Fabricate. And it doesn't even have to be a creature. You can sack a creature. This doesn't have to be a creature. You can sack your implement to it, right? So when you sack your implements, they have an enter the battlefield, right? And they have a sack it, and whenever you pay that cost, you get an effect. But whenever any of the implements just leave, we'll see them in artifacts review, you get to just draw a card. So you can sack your implement to this for free, and you don't get the one effect, but you still get to draw the card, and this guy gets counter. So I'm happy doing that as well. Not going to play, like, if you don't have a ton of artifacts or a ton of small creatures you want to sack to this guy, paying 3 mana for a 2/2 with a little bit upside, so it's going to be one of the last creatures to make your deck unless you're playing like a lot of Fabricate or a lot of just servos or a Whirler Maker or something where you can just continuously pump this guy. Or that black-white enchantment that makes the servos. You can just keep sacking them to this guy. But I like it. It's going to be really good in worst case scenario, this is one of those middling cards. Best case scenario, this guy can be really, really good and just a big problem for your opponents. I like Defiant Salvager. Fatal Push. Oh my goodness, Fatal Push. First we'll tell you what it is before we get into it. It's a single black mana for an uncommon instant. It says destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less. It has Revolt that says destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less. Instead, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn. So I'll tell you kind of the tech that I've seen going around about this is, okay, you play Tezzeret. Play Tezzeret, the new one. You +1 him. You get a artifact that has tap, sack, get a mana of any color. You go on your opponent's turn, whatever. Oh, you played a big thing, you're gonna attack me with it. Okay, I'm gonna tap, sack the artifact for a black mana. A permanent I controlled left the battlefield this turn. Right? So now I can play my Fatal Push on their 4-cost thing and just kill it for 1 mana. Fatal Push just is going to be an amazing card. Sealed, draft, get as many as you can your hands on. Non-foils of this are going for like $5 right now, so just draft all of them. If nothing else, you can pay for your next draft. Plus, if you draft all of them, you should be playing black. At that point, whatever else it is, you're splashing for black. Because it's 1 black, you can splash for this. In your sealed and draft formats, you can just splash for Fatal Push. That's great. This is going to see standard play, no question. This is going to see modern play, no question. I'm not enough of an expert on Legacy to know, but I would think it's going to see that as well, really. If you've watched my other videos, you know I play Lantern Control in Modern. I know, let the hate flow through you. But I've even been thinking about, because right now I have 3 Abrupt Decays main. I've been thinking about replacing one of those with a copy of Fatal Push. And then I have a 4th Abrupt Decay inside. Kind of trying to do 1 Fatal Push main, see how that goes. Because this just kills creatures, and then maybe putting 1 in the sideboard as well, and possibly siding something else out, just for that efficient creature removal against those really aggro decks. That would kind of get around the Snaring Bridge lock on them. But like I said, guys, if you haven't heard the hype by now, the hype is real. Fatal Push is going to be awesome, amazing. It's going to be around forever. I heard rumors people talking about it like it's going to be the Black Path to Exile. You know, it's just really good, guys. It's one of the best black removal spells to be printed, period. Can't say enough about it. Just play the card. Buy a playset now and play them. You're going to love it. If you pull a foil, congratulations. Mail it to me. Okay, next card. You don't have to mail it to me, it's okay. Fenhauler is a 6 generic mana and a black creature insect at common for a 5/5. It has Improvise, and it can't be blocked by artifact creatures. Fenhauler, I didn't get one. I would have been happy to play one, honestly, because you're usually going to play this for, like, it costs 7 mana. With Improvise, you're going to play it for around 5. Sometimes 4, sometimes 6, usually 5. Paying 5 mana for a 5/5 that can be blocked by artifact creatures in this format is really good. Because sometimes your opponent's just going to have a wall of servos, and you're going to be able to get in there for 5 through the wall of servos or through some of the big artifact walls. No standard, no modern for this guy, but I really like this card for your seal, for your limited, kind of a curve topper. Like, don't look at any of these cards that have Improvise. It's like when you looked at Delve cards in Tarkir block, or in Khan's block, whatever you want to call it. Don't look at it as a 7 cost, because you shouldn't be playing that as 7 mana. If you're playing this for 7, you might be behind already anyway, or you don't have enough artifacts in your deck to support it properly. So look at it, like I said, average probably 5. You should be playing this for 5 mana. Sometimes you might not have enough. You know, if you're playing this for 7 mana, you're either behind or way ahead, and this kind of just breaks the stalemate. But if you can play this for cheap enough, awesome. Fenhauler is above average card. I like it. It's sealed. I'm going to play 1 of these. It's common, so you might be able to get 2 in a draft. If I don't get any good other big black creatures or whatever other color I'm pairing with my draft, I might play 2. But Preferably, I'll just play one of these because they're common, and then. But I'm not upset if I get one of these late, too. You know, from one of my last creatures to make the cut. But I like Fenhauler. Foundry Hornet is a 3 generic mana and a black for a uncommon insect. It is a 2/3 with flying. It says when Foundry Hornet enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with a +1/+1 counter on it, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 till end turn. This card, unfortunately for me, it was often just a 2/3. But if you can play this in like a green-black deck, green or something with Fabricate where you put counters on things, this can be a blowout. You can play this post-combat, and once you attack, and everything kind of, it's like, okay, everything kind of just bounced off each other. Okay, play this, and you could kill 2/3 creatures. Your opponents have a wall of servos. You just play this, and you kill their whole wall of servos. Can be a really good card, and also it's just a 2/3 flyer for 4. I've played those before. I'm not super upset about playing those. It blocks servos, it kills Windrake, or just blocks servos obviously, but kills Sopters, kills Windrake. I'm fine with playing it just because it's regular body, but it can potentially be a blowout, and in the right deck it will be. And because that, Foundry Hornet gets a thumbs up for me. A really big fan. I got one. Didn't get the blowout feeling with it. Wasn't really playing a whole lot of Fabricate. I have 1 or 2 cards to Fabricate, but didn't get to really play it with that a whole bunch. But if I did, there's a number of situations where it could have been a really good card and potential blowout for me. So Foundry Hornet is a solid card for under sealed. Again, not going anywhere past sealed formats. Fourth Bridge Prowler is a single black mana for a 1/1 common human rogue creature. Has when it enters the battlefield, you may have target creature get -1/-1 until end of turn. I actually really like this. There are a number of situations where I would actually play a swamp with this in my hand past the turn. I kind of had a little bit more of a dirtly black-white deck at my pre-release. So I would play my swamp, opponent would play mountain, they'd play out the thriving grubs or something like that. It was 1 toughness. So then come to my turn, I'd play my other land, play Fourth Bridge Prowler, kill their thing, and play a implement. That happened. It was real feel good. Because normally I don't like not getting value, so it seems kind of counterintuitive of holding back, but I just gained card advantage. I killed their thing by just playing my creature that I would have normally played, right? It is a May, so it's not like if you play this, it has to kill itself. You can play it into empty board and you're fine. But I wouldn't take too many of them. It can be kind of a little mini trick post-combat. You attack with your 1/1, they block it with a 2/2, kills that you play this. It doesn't feel as good then, so I wouldn't take too many. But definitely a solid one. Like if you need to fill out your 1-drop, I would pick this in draft. Sealed, I played one of them in a deck. I didn't get more. I probably wouldn't have played more than one. But because there's that magical Christmas land of 2 black, -2/-2 because I played 2 of these, and no, I don't think so. But I really like the card. It's not super bomb. This is one of those middle cards that you get a little value out of, so I do like it. Gifted Aetherborn is 2 black for a uncommon creature. This is an Aetherborn vampire that is a 2/3, has Death Touch and Lifelink. I love playing Death Touchy creatures, and there's a lot of 2 toughness things in this format, or of course Death Touch can trade with anything, but a lot of just X2s that, because this is a 2/3, it will just straight out kill, and then this will still survive through it and gain you a little life. Right? This hold back again, they're big bombs, so because of the Death Touch, again this along with the 2 mana Death Touch 1/1 can create a pretty intimidating wall for your opponent won't want to attack you because they can't profitably, because their big stuff will all die to your little stuff, and you can just play your big stuff after. So in my board, I had some of these Death Touch guys out, and then you can wait to draw into your big stuff. Yes, your opponent might draw into their removal and stuff like that, but it was a good card. I really liked it. Performed well for me. Not going anywhere past the sealed formats and stuff, or the limited formats. Sorry, but I performed well for me. It was a good card. I would take multiples. I would take 2. Possibly even play him. 3 it's not good enough to play 3 because it doesn't have really. It's a Death Touch lifelink. It's there to block things. If you're attacking with this guy, you're probably already winning. You're probably already ahead. So that's why I wouldn't take too many of them, because I want to have more of those things that have mechanics that will make me win, right? Have the interaction with other cards that'll be a big swing of the game. This guy kind of just delays so I can get to that swing. So, but I do like Gifted Aetherborn, solid card. Take a couple of them, play them if you get them. Good card. Glint-Sleeve Siphoner is generic mana and a black for a rare creature that is a human rogue. It is a 2/1 with menace. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you get an energy. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 energy. If you do, draw a card and lose 1 life. So your black-blue energy decks, like this one's a little pretty aggressive for those. Like you get your 1-drop that you play and you get 2 energy. You get this, you play it, and you have, you know, 3 energy, potentially more on your next turn. When this attacks, you'll have 4. And as long as this is on the battlefield, the ability is on this card. So if this dies, you can't pay 2 energy and draw a card anymore, obviously. But it's your blue-black. It's just card advantage on a card, and I'll pay a life to draw a card. Yup, you know, like that the black puzzle knot see in play. I'll play this creature as well. It's a evasive with menace. You know, early in the game, this guy can pretty easily, or this girl can pretty easily hit for 4 or 6. Right, if your opponent only plays 1 or 2. Only plays 1 creature for the first couple turns, this guy's going to get in there. Or this girl, sorry. I say guy, not in the gender sense, but just, I say, oh, you guys doing okay? Just to preface that. But because the menace, they're not be able to block it with their single creature, it's going to get around, do 4, 6 damage maybe. You know, it's a pretty efficient threat. Plus, drawn cards. What's best 3 words in Magic? Draw a card. Anyway, Glint-Sleeve Siphoner is a solid card. I'm happy to open it. I'm happy to pick it. Gonti's Machinations. This is a single black uncommon enchantment. Whenever you lose life for the first time each turn, you get 1 energy. So if you, on our last card there, you get an energy counter again. So these 2 cards kind of fuel each other. You can then pay 2 energy, sacrifice Gonti's Machinations. Each opponent loses 3 life. You gain life equal to life lost this way. So in your seal, you know, your limited draft sealed, it's going to be a lose 3, gain 3 for 2 energy. So it lets you, early on in the game, you could drop this turn 1, you know, lets you negate the first turn or 2 of damage, and do something to your opponent. So it's okay. I would not play more than 1. If you have some other, because you have to sack this, it's just gonna be a one-time thing. It's not pay 2 energy. I might like this a little more if it was pay 2 energy, opponent, you know, each opponent loses a life, you gain a life. Even pay 3 energy, each opponent loses a life, you gain a life equal to the life loss this way. Just because then you could repeat it multiple times. Because you have to sack this, it's going to be that one-time thing. So this, because you're not paying mana for it, it's not as bad, but I'm still pretty iffy on it. I wouldn't ever play more than 1. Like if you could set off Revolt with it. Just like, you know, everything fuels delve, it's in your graveyard, everything. You know, it sets off Revolt. You can sack it, sets off Revolt. So, but it's okay. I'm not super high on it, but in the right deck, it's going to have its places. You know, it's going to fuel Revolt. It's going to drain and gain 3. I'm never too excited about 3 life because if you've watched my other reviews, other videos, 3 life. I'm excited about life gain when it buys me a turn, right? 3 life doesn't usually buy me a turn. So, to me, this is. It might get into 3. Like 3 is, you know, it's, what is it, 14% of your opponent's life total. It's okay. You know, if you can do that, shock him a couple times, you're up to 7 damage. That's pretty good. But it's just not that great of a card on its own, I don't think. But not too high on Gonti's Machinations. Herald of Anguish, however. Herald of Anguish is 5 generic mana and 2 black for a mythic demon creature. It is a 5/5 flyer, and it has Improvise. So hopefully we're paying 4 or 5 for a 5/5 flyer. Doesn't stop there though. But wait, there's more. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent discards a card. So if they drew a card and didn't play it, it just goes to the bin. So it gives you card advantage. So it's a 5/5 flyer. Hopefully for 5. Should be for 5 in the right. I'm talking about constructed, like standard decks. And also has removal built in, because why not? A generic mana and a black, sacrifice an artifact, target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So if you, for example, say you have 7 mana up, I can play this guy, you know, tap 5 mana, 2 creatures for Improvise, then one of those artifacts that I tap to improvise, I can pay 2 mana, sacrifice one of those, and kill something on their side of the board, because it's better. So, again, think about it this way. Okay, I +1 Tezzeret. I make a little artifact that makes mana. I pay 2 mana to sacrifice that artifact to give something -2/-2. Then I pay 1 black mana and Fatal Push something of theirs. So I paid 3 mana to kill 3 things. Sorry, to kill 2 things, and then I'm probably going to hit him for 5 in the air as well. And that's just, again, so it just seems real good, guys. I've seen decks in standard. People are planning for this in standard already. It's not legendary. You can play multiples, have multiples on the board. So yes, at the beginning of your end step, each opponent discards a card. If you have 2 Heralds of Anguish out, they discard 2 cards. So turn 4 Tezzeret, turn 5 this, turn 6 this. Are you not scooping to that? I don't see how you're not, but okay. Herald of Anguish, obviously, if I'm talking about it, making standard decks and being good, Sealed Bomb, Limited Bomb, Draft Bomb, pick it, play it, you'll be happy, you'll have a good time. Herald of Anguish, just good times. Ironclad Revolutionary is 4 generic mana and black for an uncommon creature. It's an Aetherborn Artificer. It is a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Ironclad Revolutionary, and each opponent loses 2 life. 6 mana that I can't reduce in this is, like, obviously I'd rather play the Mythic. It's a Mythic. But if I can sacrifice an artifact to this, like one of my Implements or Puzzle Knot in Draft or Sealed, I'm going to have a 6/6 and drain for 2. Fine with that. That's going to be just one of the biggest creatures on the board most of the time. Wouldn't want to pick too many of these. Like, at most, I was talking about the Fen Hauler earlier. So if I got one of those, one of these, that'd kind of be the top of my curve, or 2 of either one. But if I take Ironclad Revolutionary, I want to be sure I have a number of artifacts that I can sacrifice to it. Casting this just as a 6 mana 4/4 definitely doesn't feel as good. I really want to have, like, I might even hold this in my hand for a turn. So if I draw an artifact and I have 6 mana, I'm going to play that artifact in the hope that I can play this guy next turn. Because I would much rather have a 6/6 than a 4/4. Because then even if they hit me for 2, I can kind of get them back for the 2, right? But I like the card. Ironclad Revolutionary is a solid card. I would pick it, not super high. Like, there's cards I'm going to pick above this, but as a curve topper, I'm happy with opening this guy. Not going to see anything past any of the limited formats, but I enjoy Ironclad Revolutionary. Midnight Entourage is 2 generic mana and a black for a rare creature that is an Aetherborn Rogue. It's a 3/3. Other Aetherborn creatures you control, other Aetherborn you control get +1/+1. Whenever Midnight Entourage or another Aetherborn you control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I don't know. You have to be really heavy black for this to really pay off. And really, I'm not going to be happy if I have to sack something to draw a card and lose life. Whenever something dies to draw a card and lose life. Because you're going to have to get a lot of Aetherborn. I don't feel like there's enough. Because I'm not super high on this. Like, if I can get Gonti, he's an Aetherborn, or it is an Aetherborn. What is it else? Yahenni, who we'll see in a few minutes here, is an Aetherborn, so pumps that. But, like, if I get a lot of Aetherborn in my deck, then I'm going to play this. It's a Hill Giant that maybe has a little bit upside. So if I don't have a lot of Aetherborn, this might make it in just as a mid-rangey creature, as a value creature, just a 4 mana 3/3, right? But if I do open like 5 or 6 other Aetherborn, this could convince me to be a slightly better card, but on its own in a vacuum I don't see it being too great, right? So middling, middling. Like, I would play it. I wouldn't. It's just going to be one of your filler cards, though, and I think in most cases. So I'm not super happy, like, oh my goodness, I opened Midnight Entourage. I'm not ever going to have that reaction to it, so not amazed with Midnight Entourage, unfortunately. Night Market Aeronaut is a 3 generic mana and a black for a common creature that is an Aetherborn Warrior. It's a 2/2. So it has a 2/2 flyer that has Revolt. It enters with a +1/+1 counter on it if a creature you control left the battlefield this turn. Or sorry, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn. So hopefully it's going to be a 3/3. If it's not, I'm okay overpaying for a Windrake in black, because black creatures, flying creatures, usually aren't at the rate that you get in blue. But, you know, if you can set off Revolt in this, 4 mana for a Flying Hill Giant's pretty good, right? On its face, that's better than Midnight Entourage. So, because you can even splash for it in like your black-white Revolt deck. You can play this guy, and if you set off Revolt, which hopefully you're going to be doing a lot with that deck, you're going to have a flying 3/3, which is better than this guy. Don't mean to flash back and forth too quickly like that, but so I like Night Market Aeronaut. I even played it in my black-white deck. I did have some Revolt stuff, but not a ton, and I was still fine paying up for 2/2 because I did have a number of flyers in that. So just getting a lot of time just getting over for that flying damage. Like I had the ground gummed up, so this is just like 2/2. These often hit for 4 or 6 damage just on their own. So I was satisfied with Night Market Aeronaut. Perilous Predicament. Perilous Predicament. Because words. And it's 4 generic mana and a black for an uncommon instant. It says each opponent sacrifices an artifact creature and a non-artifact creature. I really like this card. End of your opponent's turn, Perilous Predicament. You know, they'll say you're playing the blue-black deck, they will, you know, just, they'll play their creature, they're like, okay, didn't counter it, I'm good, and then your turn you just go, meh. Sometimes you're obviously going to get better creatures than none sometimes. You are going to get one artifact creature, so oftentimes the artifact creature is going to be, they're going to sack a Servo or a Thopter. That's just going to happen. But the non-artifact creature is hopefully going to be good. It's hopefully going to be the creature that they fabricated off of, their bigger thing or something like that, right? There's going to be there's going to be situations in which you're not going to get the best creatures because they'll have a bunch of creatures. But even then, if they have a bunch of creatures and they're not winning already, it means you're kind of at a board stall. So, you know, attacking in with your now better board than theirs, because this is an instant, you play this on their turn, attacking now with your better board of creatures into their depleted board is going to be a better situation. And can we talk for a moment about this? How sad this card is? Like it's this like automaton that's this Vidalcan made. The Vidalcan's the guy under the cart there. It's this automaton that he made, and it says comrades in life, comrades in death, because the thing's about to roll over them and crush them, and it's so sad, you guys. It's so sad. I don't know why I'm smiling, but it's so sad. Anyway, Perilous Predicament, I like it. Removal and limited is always going to be good. This one isn't as good because you can't pick, but like I said, I still think it's going to be good. It's still removal. Still be happy with it. I would pick some cards. Like I'm going to pick Daring Demolition over this, personally, because I get to pick what dies. I would rather... You always want you to pick rather than your opponent to pick. You never want to give your opponent the choice. You want to have the choice. So I would pick, like in a draft situation, I would pick Daring Demolition before this because I get to pick. Even at sorcery speed, 1 mana cheaper, so you can be like, eh. But I would rather pick what dies rather than my opponent having the choice. So, but still do enjoy Perilous Predicament. Renegade's Getaway. I just love that servo looks awesome. It's 2 generic mana and a black for a common instant. It says target permanent gains indestructible until end of turn and create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. So this is just going to be your, you know, I'm going to chump with this, or your opponent targets something with Daring Demolition. You can say, nope, he's indestructible. And you get a 1/1, because why not? Your 1/1, so they have, if they have Daring Demolition, okay, I'm going to kill your thing. You say no. Okay, I'm going to attack with it. Okay, I'm going to block with my 1/1. Have a good day. So, decent little trick. I personally would rather have, like, the -2/-2 trick. That lets me kill their thing and just win combat outright. Rather than have this guy. But this can negate their trick. There's all kinds of different scenarios you can see this being played in. But just in a vacuum, gains indestructible, so it's going to save your creature. Right? That's what this is there to do. It's not there to win combat. You can use it on the offensive, but, like, again, if I'm attacking with a 2/2 into a 3/3, okay, it's going to get me yay, or maybe it protects me from a death touch creature. But, again, I would rather have just removal for it. You can't, my pickers can't be choosers, but I would still rather have removal. So I do like the card. It's going to save your creature a lot of the time, but there's other stuff I like better. You know, this is going to be like, if I don't have a lot of tricks in my deck, like if I'm struggling to find that, you know, 5th or 6th non-creature card, and the rest of my creatures are pretty mediocre, I'll throw this in there. But there's going to be other stuff I put in there ahead of this. So, Resourceful Return. We've seen this card before. It's generic mana and a black for a common sorcery. Well, we haven't seen Resourceful Return before, but it's been called other things. It says return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you control an artifact, draw a card. So we've seen this before, return target creature from the graveyard to your hand for this cost. But we never saw the other clause on it before. Well, at least I haven't. So it's, if you have that good deck or that good card that you want back, it's going to be okay. You know, your bomb dies, you can get it back. Or if you have some kind of strategy, someone's playing mill against you, or you had some kind of self-mill thing, you know, this gets your thing back. It's okay. I would rather, you know, if I have to play this, it feels like I'm already behind. There's other things I would want to do if I was already behind. It can draw you a card, it can get your bomb back, and usually if you're later in the game enough to have played your big bomb creature and they kill it, usually you'll have enough mana to play Resourceful Return and then play your creature over again as well, maybe even draw a card. But so it could be good, but there's other stuff I'd rather do. If they killed my bomb once, playing it again will usually either win me the game, or I'm already too behind. So this is, to me, either feels like a win more or last ditch attempt, and that's not the kind of Magic I want to be playing personally. So it's okay. I've seen this kind of card be good before, like mediocre to good, but like I said, there's other things I would pick ahead of Resourceful Return. Secret Salvage. There's 3 generic mana and a black, and 2 black. For a rare sorcery, it says exile target non-land card from your graveyard. Search your library for any number of cards with the same name as that card. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library. Again, this is another case of a card being better in constructed than it is in sealed. In sealed and draft, you usually, like in draft, you might get a same uncommon a couple times if it's in your colors. It's kind of if your colors are open, you know. But usually you won't get the same rare multiple times. Usually, I've seen it, but usually no. So because you have to exile, okay, your big thing, you play it, or discard or something, has to get into the graveyard. Condition 1. You then have to exile it and have another one in your library still. Condition 2. You then have to get it out from your library, put it in your hand. Okay. I then have to play my big bomb again. So it's a number of things have to be met before I can do this. And do this in a good way. And even then, because I probably don't have multiple of the same rare, the same big bomb rare especially, that I want to play multiples of, it's not going to be a good card. Again, in Constructed, I don't see this even getting there in Constructed, but like Kitchen Tables is where this is going to see play. Not good. There's better Reanimator spells out than this that just take from the graveyard battlefield, so it isn't getting anywhere close to that. Kitchen Tables, you know, casual stuff might see there, but nothing. I'm not playing this in any limited formats. I'm not playing it in Constructed. Just no thank you. Sly Requisitioner is 4 generic mana and a black for a uncommon creature that is a human artificer. It's a 2/2 with improvise. It says whenever a non-token artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. This is okay. It's not great, in my opinion anyway. You have to be playing a lot of implements or a lot of just artifact creatures. I can see if you have blue-black artifact creature deck, okay. Because then you can pay this maybe for 3, maybe 4 mana because the improvise reducing the cost. But then also to get the value in the 1/1s out of it, like you can't sack a servo and get another servo because the non-token artifact has to die, not a servo token, because those are tokens and you can't get those back. But so like I know I played this, and this was more often than not just a 5 mana 2/2, maybe a 4 mana 2/2, and if you have the right deck to go with it, it can be good. But in most cases, I'm not too high on Sly Requisitioner, and because everything's good if you can find the right shell for it, magical crystals land scenario. But on its own, it's just, I don't think it's a very good card. Vengeful Rebel is 2 generic mana and black for an uncommon creature that's an Aetherborn warrior. It's a 3/2, and it has Revolt. When Vengeful Rebel enters the battlefield, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. So the -3/-3, sorry, I'm a little stuffed up here, will either just kill something outright, or you can, play it as a post-combat trick kind of to, you'll attack in with some stuff, they'll block it with their big bomb, then you can kill their big bomb, their big 5/5 or 6/6, you can then kill it with the rest of your Vengeful Rebel Revolt trigger. But, so a 2/3 for, or sorry, 3 mana for a 3/2, that's fine already. I kind of put this similar, not similar to the Deadeye Harpooner that we had in white, in that it's a 3 mana, or it's a creature that when it enters will usually kill something, or finish off killing something. It'll usually remove another creature on the other side of the board, is what I'm saying. So because of that, I really do like it. The black-white deck is going to have a lot of Revolt triggers, a lot of good Revolt triggers. So I picked this. If I'm in that deck and if I'm drafting that deck, it's going to be a solid draft deck. That black-white Revolt, I think it's going to be a draft archetype is the word. Black-white Revolt will be a draft archetype, I believe. And this will be a good card for that deck. And just sealed formats, this is going to be good. Like, I'm happy paying 3 mana for a 3/2 anyway. That's fine. That's fine, body. And then if I get that trigger, just bonus. So Vengeful Rebel, I'm happy with that card. I like that card. Yahenni, Undying Partisan is 2 generic mana and a black for a rare, this is going to be a lot of words, for a rare legendary creature Aetherborn Vampire, and it is a 2/2 with haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Yahenni, Undying Partisan, sacrifice another creature, Yahenni gains indestructible until end of turn. I got this in my black-white deck that I've been talking about, and it did work. It did real good work. Just as an aggressive black creature, 2/2 haste, that came into play quite a bit. My opponent might have like a servo down or something that isn't good at blocking this, and so that creature would die. So Yahenni becomes a 3/3. Yahenni attacks next turn. Yahenni usually becomes a 4/4, or on turn 4 I play my Daring Demolition. Kill something, Yahenni becomes a 3/3 and swings for 3. Always keep a servo handy, or something else that you don't care if it dies, handy to sack to Yahenni. And the nice thing is that sack trigger is free, so you can trigger Revolt at will as long as you have another little throwaway creature handy for sacrifice to Yahenni. So, you can sacrifice a creature to Yahenni. Okay. Play Vengeful Rebel. Kill something of theirs. Okay, cool. Their thing died. Yahenni becomes a 3/3. You swing in for 3. On the next turn, see what I mean there? That combo potential with that is really good. With Revolt and the servo things that black-white likes to do. Yahenni did a lot of work for me, guys. I think it's going to do a lot of work going forward. I am not sure if this is going to see standard play. I don't like to be middling. I like to say this is going to be good, this is going to be bad. Or this is going to make it, this isn't going to make it. Because there is a lot of -X and a lot of exile removal, I don't think this is good enough to make it. That's where my initial thought comes to. Vengeful Rebel kills it. Vengeful Rebel gives Yahenni -3/-3. Oh, it's indestructible. -3/-3 still kills it, right? Makes its toughness 0 and it dies. You have in standard, for example, you have and then Vengeful Rebel isn't even going to be played in standard. You have Grasp of Darkness, you have Anguished Unmaking, you have Declaration in Stone, you have any of the number of Oblivion Rings and type effects. Those are rest type effects. Those don't even see standard play. So because of that, I don't see Yahenni. And being an aggressive creature, you want to play multiples of an aggressive creature, and Yahenni's legendary, so that goes against it as well, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't quite see it making standard, but again, not a pro, but those are my arguments for it. If you disagree or if you agree, please let me know. I'd love to hear other thoughts. I've been playing this for years, for probably 5-6 years, and if there's more thoughts, I don't know everything. I'll never say I know everything, but I would love to hear other thoughts about it. So if you guys have other thoughts, please let me know. Yahenni's Expertise is our last black card. It is 2 generic mana and 2 black for a rare sorcery that says all creatures get -3/-3 until end of turn. And you may cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Note, do not cast Yahenni off of Yahenni's Expertise, because it will die. It will enter get -3/-3, and it will die. So don't do that. But I like the card. It's not Languish, but it's Languish's cost for... I would rather have this than Languish, because -3/-3 is going to kill a lot of things in this format. Kills all the X3s out there, your Spell Quellers, your not Reflector Mage anymore, but all your X3s in the format. It kills those, and you get to then cast Saheeli Rai. That seems one of the best things to do with 3 mana. I know that's like Grixis, so I don't think that's going to be a thing, but you know, that's someplace you can go. Any 3 mana spell you can think of, you can then cast with this guy. So I like it. All the expertises are just good. They just give you value, like we've been talking about with Improvise. Any cost-reducing thing, whether it's been Delve, Cascade, whatever. There's been more, but those are the ones I can remember at the moment. That let you reduce the cost of things or play things for free, like this, have been good, have seen play. So in your black deck that wants to kill things, this is going to go in there, and you're going to get free spells out of it. Free spell. Second best phrase of Magic. First best phrase is draw a card. Second is play for free, without paying its mana cost. That's the next best spell. But that is the end of our black cards for Aether Revolt. If you guys agreed or disagree with me, like I said, I would love to hear from you. Please comment down below about anything. If you liked the video, please like, share, subscribe. Let other people know that we exist. Would love to get this channel a little bigger in Medicine Hat. I'm going to have other people on. Want to have some weekly content for you guys. Also, follow down below, twitch.tv/Dave865 or @Dave2619. Follow us on Twitch. We play Magic the Gathering online, other games. Like sometimes I'll just hop on and, you know, play some Titanfall or something, whatever I feel like playing, right? Just have a good time, hang out with you guys. But thanks for spending some time with me today. Again, have fun with these cards, have fun with this set, and thanks for hanging out, and have a good rest of the night.